So all truths all truths are half truths. No truth is the whole truth. That's Whitehead, Lord Whitehead, and all things imply their own negation. That's Hegel. Now that's why, by the way, that's the chef's thing is nothing of what I say in these YouTube things is particularly original. It's not my own thinking. It's stuff that I picked up, and usually I think, "Ooh, I've got a great thought," and then I'll read something, and somebody else has said it like 1,000 years ago, or at least centuries ago, way better than me. And there's lots of you out there that are way smarter than me, read way more stuff than I have. I'm just a chef. I'm just I'm just picking stuff off the trees and the bushes and pulling stuff out of the ground and catching some fish, trying not to kill anything. But I saw a YouTube about fish, and they interact and stuff, and, and they do courting rituals and stuff. And so I'm feeling bad about killing fish, thinking that's vegetarian. It's not. It's a little weaselly way out of it. So speaking of weasels, um, I wanted to do part two. I had some stuff from Eisenhower, which I missed on the last feed here, the last YouTube bit, which he puts in a big pitch for the USIA, the U.S. Information Agency, which Trump just eradicated, but how important it is to have communications with the rest of the world. Lots of good stuff that I didn't get around to doing, but it was 15 minutes, and I try to keep these things short. But I wanted to do something else for the July 4th, and about Trump in particular, and this notion that I have about an enantiodrome, which is when things get so extreme, they have to flip to the other side. And I keep thinking of Trump as as like a good TV show. It's it's reality television, but very unwittingly he's a performer, and I can understand the following. I can understand the seemingly irrational inclination for our collective body politic to come up twice with electing him president of the United States. And my best explanation comes from Jung, which is the collective unconscious. That sometimes we don't know how much we know. And it tumbles out and it seems like ESP or magic or something. Where's this coming from? And it's coming from stuff that we've repressed, that we can't confront. And if you look at American history, and this is still an issue, we can't confront our own evil capacity for evil, which Jung, on an individual, personal level, this adds to neurosis. You've repressed stuff, we repress stuff, I repress stuff in my life, can't confront it, and it comes out in all sorts of weird ways, and it's a surprising thing. We think it's fate, and why is this happening to me? Well, it's got a lot to do with not confronting our own capacity. I always think that I'm just this wonderful angel. And of course, you get to be my age and you get defeated enough, and you realize, what am I not getting? I'm not getting the stuff that I don't want to face. And I think we don't want to face in the United States, even though we have great, almost, and they continue to be sacred dedications to freedom of the individual, that we've taken the individual a little too far. It's becoming an enantiodrome, where we think self-interest is going to be good for the collective interest, and that's do be as good as you can be yourself. But we've got this curse of being human beings, and we fail, and we're flesh, and we make mistakes all the time. But we are kind of, our point of view is that it's almost like, and there's this scenario where, there was the movie. It's got Jim Carrey in it. I'm going to forget the title of it. But the impression is, and most great philosophers, I think. Okay, it's others have said this. But it seems like when you're a human being that the world is made for us. It's our private little screening room. and we're all like watching the world as though it were a TV set, and it's a show just for us. And we are naturally born egocentric, and that's our primary thing, is that we are we've created the world, and we project this into God that just happens to look like us. And this is an old habit that human beings have, and my old favorite thing is Galileo. And our eyes fool us. We look in the sky and we think that the sun rises and sets. It doesn't, because the sun doesn't revolve around the earth. Just like we as individuals, the world doesn't revolve around it. When we're babies, we think the world, we cry and stuff gets brought to us, and we think the world revolves around us. And part of the thing of maturation is no, we're just, we're just the third rock from the sun, and the sun is spinning around in a galaxy, and there's like billions of galaxies everywhere. And this is what science is doing, is revealing the reality of the physical world, and we have to reflect back onto us. And so we're just an individual, and we haven't invented the world. Everything we know we owe to other people in the rest of the world outside of us. We don't know how to speak unless it's been taught to us. We didn't invent speech. You got to learn it. So I hope you're following this. I know it sounds like it's rambling, but here you have American cult of the individual, and we get carried away with it. And the coolest thing, World War II, we're Americans. We're born here, and we think we're on third base. We think we had to hit a triple. We just inherited this great country and all this great good luck and power and money, and God must re-shine it on us. So just be as fulfilled as you want to be. And and Trump is just a perfect character. You couldn't write a character better than this. The guy is born with like hundreds of millions of dollars that are given to him, and like a lot of so-called self-made men, I'm self-made, I'm creative, I'm a genius. No, you're in the Lucky Egg Club. You were born with the guy that gave you hundreds of millions of bucks, and that guy himself was, we look into it, and I'm not saying this allegedly. I hear that his father was perhaps, a world-class tax cheat, and I hear allegedly that our president was also, the reason he's so wealthy is not only did he inherit it, but he also cheated like hell. So this is our model. Hey, if you got $1 billion, however you got it, that's okay. It's a little bit like the American tradition of, they're bank robbers, but by golly, they got the money. So if you get the money, everything's even. You get carried away, and what do you get? You give the power to that. You just make that into your religion, and what happens? Well, behold. And you couldn't write a story. We know how this story is going to end. It's going to end like Hitler and Mussolini and Gaddafi and so forth. So it's going to be an ugly ending. I don't know how painful it has to be for us to realize that we're on the wrong road with this sort of glorification of the individual. That's the golden calf. That's right out of the Bible. We have to balance this sense of that we've created the world, because that's our point of view, because we're all in our own little bodies, and that's it. We do create the world. We have to construct it in our own minds, but the world is outside of us. Pretty much, we're a product of the world, not the other way around. But it's a little easy to get the cart before the horse. So I'm just saying that everything implies its own negation. Everything that Trump is doing, you can go right down that list, and he's gone down a list of, for example, he's picked Obama to negate. Obama's, I think, a good president. In any case, Obama was of a tradition of presidents that we've had, and we've had good and bad and some terrible ones. But we've really outdone ourselves with a guy that's going to go right down the list of exactly everything that we have held to be that works well. And knocking up, he's greater than every single one of those things. He is the ultimate me. And this is what we have for it. And I think if it becomes clear that everybody can get on board of this, everybody can see what is wrought by that type of WROGHT, wrought by that type of behavior. If it's painful enough, maybe we'll learn better ways. It looks like we haven't seen the worst of it, and I think it's going to have to get really, really bad for us to, again, reform ourselves. Like after Watergate, we find Jesus, so to speak. We get all real righteous, and we're going to do good. We got the church committee. We're going to clean this up, just like the progressive era at the beginning of the 20th century. We got to clean this up. We can't do this corruption. We can't have Teapot Dome where you can just buy your congressman. We're going to have to do better than that. So that's all I have to say on that's July 4th, part 2.